everyone, welcome back to my channel. Oh my god, I feel like such a YouTuber when I say that. I'm like, welcome to my channel, like all my followers, welcome to my channel. Yeah, so excited to be here, guys. I've got a new series for you. So we're going to be doing Watercolour Wednesdays, but with a bit of a twist. We're going to be doing Watercolour Wednesdays a lot, and we're going to be talking about all the different films and movies, they're the same thing, and TV shows that I love. So I came up with this idea for Watercolour and Watch because I just love talking about films and TV. Like, I watch a lot of content because obviously we're all stuck inside right now. So I think it'd be a fun idea to kind of incorporate my love of art and my love of like pop culture and smush them both together. I might incorporate some more things later down the line, but just for now, we're going to be talking about films and TV shows. And the first one we're going to be talking about is Grease 2. It's one of the best films of all time. Cult classic. So we're going to be painting Stephanie Zanoni and talking about the fabulous, wonderful, should have been Oscar nominated film, Grease 2. Which in my opinion is one of the best films of all time. Like, I'll fight you for it, like, genuinely. It's one of the best films ever. Don't come for me. Don't come for it. I completely spaced and forgot to say that every week I'm going to be doing a giveaway. If you would like to win the piece of artwork that I've made today, if you go to the description down below, you'll be able to see how you enter and do that. Good luck, guys. So I first became aware of Grease 2, I think I might have been around the age of 9. And my best friend Charlotte told me about Grease 2. We were massive Grease fans and we used to always like dance in like her back room to like the Grease soundtrack. I think we may have been like the only 10-year-olds who were like massive fans of the Shananas. And I remember going to her house and she was like, do you know that there is a Grease 2? And me, like, you know, being like 9 or 10, just being like, what? My dreams have come true. There's a Grease 2. And the main character's called Stephanie. Like, I was just blown away. And then that afternoon, we sat and watched Grease 2. And I remember, like, we were, like, doing, like, making up dances. And we were just like, this is the coolest film of all time. But then I realised that apart from me and Charlotte, who thought this was like the coolest film like ever, that not everybody else shared that opinion. A lot of people didn't like Grease 2. I have no idea why. I am going to like, in this video, I'm just going to prove a point to like how great Grease 2 is and how you have to enjoy Grease 2. I mean, at 10 years old, I was like just enjoying it as like, this is amazing. This is just pink ladies. But then when I went into my teens, I had like a different appreciation for it. Another one of my friends, Kev, he was obsessed with Grease 2. I think it was mainly the fact that because he was a biker, and in Grease 2, the main thing is bikes, it's not cars. They had to make like a distinction between that. So he was like super obsessed with that and like the songs. I mean, like you've got Who's That Guy? The lyrical genius. Like whoever wrote these songs is just an absolute genius. Who's That Guy? You've got Reproduction. You know, they're covering all the bases of what it means to be a teenager in the 1960s. Like it covers everything. So let's talk about the cast. So our main protagonist, you have Stephanie Zanoni, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. And that is who we are drawing today. Obviously, I was like obsessed. And I love that this was like Michelle Pfeiffer's like first kind of like breakout kind of film role. She kind of did this just before Scarface. So it kind of like put her on the map. And she's the only person that won like a legitimate award for this film as well. We also have Maxwell Caulfield. He is playing Michael, who's Sandy's cousin from England, who's coming to study in America. He was also in Empire Records, which is another one of my favourite films of all time. I also think he was in Holby City too. But yeah, Maxwell Caulfield, he is just fabulous. You also have Lorna Luft, Judy Garland's daughter. Lorna Loft, who plays Paulette, oh my gosh, she is like sassy. She's kind of like a sassy Marilyn Monroe type with like pipes, like, oh my god, her pipes are crazy. Like, she sings and I'm like, oh, Lorna, you're amazing. You also have Maureen Teefy as well. She plays Sharon, and she was one of the main characters in Fame, if anybody's a fan of Fame. And Christopher McDonald, he was in loads of like Happy Gilmore, like loads of like Adam Sandler kind of films. Like, this was like his kind of like, you know, stepping stone. Then you also have Dee Dee Khan, who played Frenchie in the original Grease film. She has returned as her role as Frenchie. She doesn't have a massive role. I feel like that could have been a decision from the studio to kind of bring in some of the previous characters to make sure that there's that kind of connection. Maybe they didn't have full trust in the project and that's why they wanted to bring like that person in. But if they were gonna do that, then bring them in like fully. Don't have them in like the occasional scene. That was a little bit strange. That's one of my critiques of the film. Like, we need more Frenchie. Either more Frenchie or no Frenchie. Like, it doesn't make sense. Especially when the gap is bridged by these two old broads. Like, they're back, they're looking after the school. Why do we need, like, old pink ladies coming back? It doesn't make sense. So the film opens with nearly an 8-minute dance number, which kind of establishes from the very beginning that this is first and foremost a musical. This is a musical, guys. This is like hits you straight in the face. This is not like a story with a bit of song. This movie is all about the music. What I really love about when the pink ladies drive in, Dolores, Paulette's younger sister, Paulette's like standing there like being all sexy, like smoking a cigarette and like pushing her boobs out, and Dolores is like stood next to her trying to like cover her boobs with her jacket, which is just like, but like in a really sweet, innocent way, not in a way of being like, don't show your boobs, just kind of like on the DL, like, and that just like reminded me so much of like mine and my little sister's relationship. Like, oh god, it was so funny, like the way we were with each other. Another thing that I want to point out as well, there's like a sexy teacher, Ms. Mason, and she's walking past like spraying her hair, and like the twins, like there's these two like cheerleader twins, and I never got this line when she was like, I love your hair, Miss Mason, all 300 pounds of it, and then they're like, like it's hilarious, and I'm like, even at 10, I was like, I get it, like her hair must weigh a lot. I don't get what's so funny about it. Like, I don't understand why that's there. I don't get it. But yeah, it's all these weird little quirks that this film has that this is like the kind of the reason why I love this so much. Also, she like full on flirts with Nogarelli. Like, Nogarelli is basically like the main T-Bird, do you know what I mean? He's like the main guy. And when she says to him, I'd like to see you all in music appreciation class this year, Nogarelli replies by going, I'd like to see all of you in music appreciation class this year. And then Ms. Mason goes, you just might what, Miss Mason, end up on like trial for having sex with a student, because that's what it kind of sounds like to me. We also need to discuss the Pink Ladies pledge. Right in the middle of this number, the Pink Ladies have this bit.
The Pink Ladies pledge to act cool, to look cool, and to be cool, till death do us part. Think pink.
It's this weird bit. I don't know how, like, I don't really get it. It kind of makes me cringe, but I also kind of love it at the same time. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, to death to us part, like, think pink. Like, I'm into that. I'm not into proclaiming the whole cool thing. And I think this is where the problem lies with people not liking it. But it's like, it's kind of like one of those films where it's like so bad it's good. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of leaning into it's being so obvious. It's like Grease on steroids. They're saying all the things that the first one was saying it, but they're just being direct about it. And I absolutely love how Frenchie like establishes who she is. Like, no one else is here for no one's coming to this film if they haven't seen Grease already. Like, nobody is coming to watch Grease 2 unless they've seen Grease. Like, Frenchie, you don't need to establish the fact that, you know, you dropped out of high school, you used to go to Rydell, and now you're back, and she's telling you that she's going to be getting her, like, chemistry, because she wants to mix her own, like, cosmetics. So basically, she wants to be, like, the next Jeffree Star. And it's cute because, like, Michael's like, okay. Also, I do also want to say there is a lot of smoking in this film, and I genuinely blame Grease and Grease 2 for the fact that I was a young adolescent smoker. I am blaming that. So Stephanie and Michael first meet in the halls of Rydell High. And so Michael's going to go find a locker, and stupidly he walks up to a T-Bird locker, and the T-Birds come over and they're like, Michael, what you doing? Like, this is like private property. Like, you need to go down the hall and get yourself a new locker. And they like shove his head in the locker. And then Stephanie Zanoni like walks over and she's like, don't let those guys fool you. And she's all like, you know, being sassy and just being like Steph, do you know what I mean? And Michael is just like flabbergasted. Like, he has never seen a person more beautiful as Stephanie Zanoni. He's just like stood there, just gobsmacked, doesn't know what's hit him, just like he might as well just lie on the floor and just play dead. So they're all on the sports field, and Michael is staring at Steph again, and Frenchie's like, Michael, don't do it, like, seriously. She's like, off limits, like, you only date a pink lady if you're a T-Bird, and he's like, I'm gonna become a T-Bird, and then, like, you know, drugs on. Then the T-Birds, they walk up in the PE uniforms, and this like grown-ass biker gang comes onto the school field. Why they're there, I do not know. Like, why are all these grown-ass men on bikes like bothered about like some high school kids? Like, I really don't get it. And like, they really come across as like inexperienced and like young, and it's actually Balmudo from the first Grease, you know, the guy who's like with Cha-Cha, and like Rizzo goes off with him in the car and he has like the race at the end. He's like the head of the biker gang. Now he's a biker. When did that happen? Balmudo doesn't even say about like doing a rumble, but like basically like they let him know that it's fine that they've invaded their turf and they're lucky because they're bowling tonight.
And Bullet?
Yeah, Johnny.
I want you to look special, Dick.
No problem.
Lorna Luft's energy in this is just like next level. Like, I can't cope with her sex kitten thing. She's supposed to be playing like a teenage girl, and she's like, oh, Johnny. Oh, she's so funny. Her like overacting is the best, and that is the key word in this film. Overacting. The T-Birds, they overact so much. Every single person I think is overacting except for Stephanie Zanoni and Michael. I don't know if this was a choice from the director or whether this was a choice of just the actors, but whoever's choice it was a brilliant one, because it is so jarring. It is so jarring. It's like, it's brilliant. So the next scene is my favorite scene in the entire movie. It's all set in a bowling alley. The guys go bowling, and it's responsible for one of the best lines in the entire film.
We're gonna rock, we're gonna roll, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna roll.
Have you ever heard a more perfect lyric than that? No, I didn't think so. I didn't think so. It's also responsible for this level 5 hair flip. I'm sorry, I think I just need to play that again. Woo! Oh my god, seriously, can't cope. What's great about this scene is at the end, Pauletta walks over to Johnny and kisses him, and then he basically calls her the best average, but what about the trophy? And then grabs Steph, and it's like this really misogynistic moment, and then like Pauletta's like heartbroken, and Stephanie's like disgusted at his actions, and is that disgusted that she's like, I'll kiss any guy that I want, I'll kiss the next guy who walks through that door. And there's like this little old man character that's like, whoa, I'm gonna turn around and walk through that door. Also really creepy. But then Michael Carrington walks through the door, and Stephanie walks over to him and plants a big kiss on his lips. Oh yeah. And then like all the T-Birds are like, what is happening? It's like proper drama. And then she's like walks off like no big deal, but to Michael it's a huge deal. It's so funny though, because just before this scene, Michael's walking through the car park with this like bowling book, and I don't know whether it's like how to make friends in bowling, and one of the lines he said is, howdy fellas, let's bowl some balls. And that used to just crack me up. Still does. One of the main focuses of the film is the talent show. How many teen films are they going to make where there's a bleeding talent show? Like, honestly. But you know what? It works. And they have these really elaborate songs. Like, the twins, they have this song called Brad. And it's I love it. It's so good. It's like a proper, like, homage to like a 1960s kind of like, oh, I like this guy and this guy's done me wrong kind of like song, like a sort of like sickly sweet. It's not on the soundtrack though, so it's like difficult like trying to find it. the Pink Ladies, they have this number called Girl for All Seasons, which is kind of like Pink Ladies plus some of the other chicks from the school. And it's really intense. It's really intense. There's this one line in the summer where it's like, we'll spend the summer making love and getting tanned. And it's like, you guys are in high school and it's the 60s, like the early 60s. You would not be saying that. But you know what? We won't hold it against them. It's like totally fine. And the costumes for it are like really elaborate too. But this leads in, because Michael is playing the piano for all of the auditions. And it leads into Stephanie Zanoni doing her iconic number, Cool Rider, explaining to Michael what she wants in a man.
Well, I'm looking for a dream on a meat machine with hell in his eyes.
Basically everything that Michael is not. He is not a cool rider. Every single time I watch this scene, I just think of me and Charlotte doing this dance in her living room and using the end of the sofa as like the top of this of the ladder and just like swinging our legs over, thinking that we were like super cool. I love how she just like dances off, just singing a little song to herself. Oh, look at her go. So then one of the T-Birds approaches Michael and is like, hey, I'll pay you to like do my homework. And Michael's like, yeah, that's a boss idea, because then I can save up and I can get a bike. And Michael like instantly knows how to build bikes. Like how does somebody instantly know how to build a bike? Like, I don't get it. Like, you see him in the little like yard picking out all the parts. He's like practicing to like ride his bike. He's like, row, just like going like mad. But now the scene that I know majority of you are waiting for, and obviously you didn't think I'd make you wait much longer for...
Reproduction.
A song completely dedicated to the act of fornication. Mildly kind of concealed by botany. Is that what would you say? Botany? Botanicals? Yeah, well, anyway. Whatever it is, it's hilarious. It's so good. There's one bit in it, though, where, like, Nogarelli's, like, going, like, why can't, like, a woman do that thing in a book where she adds up the dates of the, what do you call it, menstruation? And then they're like, what if the numbers don't add a right, huh? And it's like, I'm glad that they put that in there, because it's kind of like, maybe you just shouldn't count for contraception. Like, always use a rubber and don't go paddling without one's wellies if you don't want to end up, you know, with a child at the end of it. Like, and also like an STD. I don't think they were really thinking about that though, were they, when they made this film? But yeah, crazy. And then there's a bit where Paulette's asking Mr. Stewart if guys carry protection and she's being all flirtatious. It's like so over the top. And there's this bit.
I don't think they even know what a pistol is.
I got your pistol right here.
What does that mean? I still don't know what that means. At 10, I didn't know what that means. At 32 years old, I still don't know what that means. It's like pistol code for penis? I don't know. I'm so confused. As confusing as it is one of the most catchiest tunes of all time. I've had it stuck in my head since I was doing this project. There's one line where they just go,
Where does the pollen go?
That's been embedded in my brain for 23 years or so. Just taking up space in there. So Michael debuts his newfound motorcycle riding skills at the Bowlerama one evening. All the gang are in there just like, you know, bowling away, hitting some pins, doing like, you know, what the cool kids do. And then Balmudo shows up with his motorcycle gang, causing all kinds of mischief, like wanting to rumble. Next minute, Michael shows up and like knocks all the bikes over. It's like pure drama. Balmudo is like losing his shit about it. He's like, what is happening? Who is this guy? And then everybody is like standing there. And that is the main question. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? And then they all break into song. Who's that guy? It's so magical. I did kind of realize though that I think the way they write these songs, they kind of be like, I want him to say like something about like, yeah, she hasn't seen his face, and then they kind of write like the first like line before that.
Wears a pair of goggles like a man from outer space.
Oh, shut up.
It really doesn't matter that I haven't seen his face.
And then I started thinking, did they purposely name Michael? Because it kind of rhymes with cycle.
Who's that guy? What would they say if they knew it was Michael?
Genius if they did. But yeah, I really kind of do believe that. I would say that this is the song that gets stuck most in my head out of everything from Grease 2. More than Reproduction, I do tend to walk around just being like, who's that guy? It's just so much fun. It's so much, especially when you've got people who also watch it, like my sister, who will occasionally quote this. But yeah, the whole point of this scene is where Stephanie meets her cool rider, the guy that Michael has invented himself into to impress her, and she's darn impressed. She is like, hello gentlemen, yes I shall go on your bicycle, that would be fun. And then she kind of spends the next few scenes just being like, oh my god, I met this guy, he's amazing, I haven't seen his face but he's so beautiful. Oh. So side plot, Lucas the Moochie wants to get poor Sharon into the bed sheets. So like when he's been dropping off his papers to Michael to go and do his work for him, Michael's using this like nuclear like bomb shelter, because remember that whole like, you know, nuclear kind of war thing that everyone was panicking about, you know, back in the day. So he's there in this like bomb shelter and he's like convincing Sharon that like they're in there like chilling out. And then, like, they're convincing her that, there's a war starting. And he's, like, going, like, let's do it for our country. And she's like, yeah, let's do it for our country. And they burst into song. They do some more sing-songies. And it's all about, like, trying to, like, basically lie to get her to have sex with him. But she's, like, misunderstanding the entire situation. And she's like, oh, we're gonna go fight. Yeah, I get this. Cool. Let's go, Lewis. This is amazing. But no, he just wants to, you know, do the deed with her, and she's heartbroken at the end of it. And they don't really mention that again. That is terrible. That is like from, obviously I'm looking at this from like a 2021 standpoint, but that is like that. I don't want to say the big R word, but emotionally it totally is. It completely is. I don't want to get like demonetized, even though I'm probably gonna get demonetized, probably showing half of this bloody movie in this video, but that's fine. It's fine. I needed to make my point come across. But yeah, then that's played off for laughs, and it moves on to the next scene where Stephanie is working in her dad's garage and she's like, you know, pumping petrol for people's cars and cleaning windshields. Then Michael shows up. He's in all leather. Oh, yeah. He's a devil in black leather. Oh, yeah. With no top on. Like, he's got his, like, PR chest out. And he's like, hey, want to go for a ride? And he's doing, like, a weird accent as well, which is kind of creepy. Also, it's kind of, like, weird. He's lying to her. But, you know, she's into it. She's into it. I am not being funny. Like, my teenage self, oh my god, I had so many fantasies about just being taken away, like, on a bicycle, even though the bikers that I hung around with did not look like Michael whatsoever. No, they looked like smelly metalheads, but they did not look like Maxwell Caulfield with his, like, you know, shaven tan chest and his, like, natural blonde highlights. They did not look like that. Like, this is a fantasy that I didn't realize was a fantasy for a very long time. So they go on this bike ride. He's like, you know, popping wheelies. There's like one bit where like she like slides around from the back to like the front of him while the bike's going. It's like really sexy, and she's like, woo, and then he pops a wheelie and they go off into the sunset, and like Cool Rider's playing in the background, but it's kind of like a sexy, hyped up saxophone version of it. It's like sexy. Maybe that's why it's called, like, why we think that, like, sax is sexy, because it's, like, saxy. It's saxy. Okay, so if I ever say on this channel again, it's saxy, you know what I mean. I mean, like, it's, like, that 80s, like, sexy, saxy sound kind of vibe. Like, that is what is going on in this scene. She's, like, all over him. But like, in a preteen way, like, you know, over the clothes. So Michael drops her off at the garage, and he's about to tell her that, you know, he's Michael and not just like this like cool mysterious bike rider. Are you saying bike rider? I mean, like, you know, motorcyclist. And then the T-Birds show up. The T-Birds are showing up, and they're like, who's this fella that you with, Seth? Like, who is he? Who is he? Like, you're a pink lady. You can't be fraternizing with some, like, random dude. Also has to be noted that Pauletta is riding side saddle on a motorbike. bitch is riding side saddle on a motorbike. Oh, I idolized the wrong person in this film when I was younger. I am a big enough person to admit that. And again, poor Paulette gets upset because Johnny is getting jealous over Steph again. Like, get over it. Yous went out. Yous broke up. You got Paulette. She's amazing. She wants you. Why are you getting your knickers in a twist? And he says to her, like, no chick of mine's going to be messing around with anyone but me. And then Paulette obviously gets extremely upset and then runs in. Just like, nobody talks about how much of an asswipe Johnny is. He is such a massive asswipe. I mean, obviously they know it in the film, but there's an entire song dedicated to how he is going prowling. And I'm not even going to, like, show the song. I mean, like, it's not like a bad song. It's just that I'm so upset with Nogarelli right now that I don't want to give him any more attention than he needs. So Steph's failing at English class and asks Michael to come and tutor her. And it's here in this scene that she kind of tells him that, like, she's, like, you know, seeing this guy, but she's, like, really nervous that he might just be ordinary under the goggles. Girl, what are you expecting? What are you expecting? Some kind of, like, prince on a motorbike? I'm telling you now from experience, girl, ain't gonna be no prince. So Michael has a little sad song called Charades, and he's basically, like, saying, like, his whole life's a charade, and how he's been dressing up as this guy, and how wrong he was, or blah, 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 blah. The song in the film, this is one bit of the film that I used to hate when I was a kid, and I still don't really like it. And I think it's because Maxwell Caulfield, it's not that he's a bad singer, it's just that, like, he's got quite a soft voice, and then they play, like, all this, like, chatter, and, like, it's all, like, in a canteen, so it's, like, canteen chatter and all this. I can't understand what he's saying, and I just feel like there needs to be more pronunciation, and I feel like it just kind of gets lost with all the other, like, amazing songs. I think it's supposed to be, like, his hopelessly devoted to you moment, but it's just hopeless. Don't get me wrong, though, there are some fantastic, like, up-close shots of, like, his face, like, sad, like, looking into the distance, writing into his book, walking around the halls hopelessly. Don't get me wrong, it's, you know, it's great for, like, a brooding song. I just want it to be more, you know, pronounced. So, Michael said that he'd meet Stephanie, dressed as Cool Rider, outside the talent show. When he turns up, T-Birds are there, they flip out. Shit starts to go down. They're like, we're gonna get him, Zanoni, and, like, they take off after him, and Steph, like, runs to the pink lady, and she's like, we need to chase him, oh my god, no. And, like, this scene of them in the car is so hilarious. They're like, obviously they're, like, freaking out, and maybe it's not supposed to be played off for laughs, but it's really funny. There's one bit where Sharon just screams, we're gonna die, and I'm wearing my mother's underwear. Like, that's the worst thing about this situation. So they drive up to Dead Man's Cave. The reason why it's called Dead Man's Cave, I have no idea. They've literally got a little board with, like, this, like, hand-painted sign saying Dead Man's Cave. And there's all, like, it looks like an unfinished road. So how's that Dead Man's Cave? I have no idea. But then, like, basically Michael, like, jumps the ravine and they all think that he's died. And then they all go back to the talent competition and, like, they're really sad. Only person who doesn't think he's dead is Nogarelli, because they're all looking in the ravine and it's like there's no sign of him, and Nogarelli's like, he made the jump, I could do that. Sure, hon, sure you could, sure. So it's time for the girls' number. So they're all there and they're all singing, you know, I'll be your girl for all seasons. And, like, Steph is just like, because she thinks that, like, the love of her life has just died, she just sits down on the stage and then just starts to sing about, like, no more secret rendezvous. And it's like, it goes into, like, this, like, dream sequence, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, you've got Michael there in his, like, weird kind of dust-covered gold uniform. Stephanie's dressed up in, like, a toga. They're spinning around on the bike. She's reminiscing to that one day that they had together. She's in love with a man that she's known for one day, you know. That's relatable, totally relatable. But yeah, so that happens. She's all upset, and then she's, like, on the floor, and then the teacher, like, comes over to her and she's like, you okay, hon? And they all think that, like, she's, like, just, like, this was part of the act, and then she wins the talent show. Girl has a breakdown on stage. Somehow the musical accompaniment just, like, continues with her, and she wins. I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, she is like a pure Marsha, full on Marsha. Then it goes from Steph's sad song straight to we're at a luau. There is no mention of the luau prior to this scene happening. It literally just happens. I love this energy. Like, Sharon is like giving it beans, but in like her own kind of way. And Steph's energy, like that energy of just being like, I can't be bothered doing this. This is like, I relate to that so hard. That was like me, like my entire like teens. Every time me and my family go on holiday, they will attest to that. I was just a miserable teenager, just like sat in like the corner, like listening to the Pixies, being like, I'm not joining in. I'm too cool. Where I would definitely say that my energy level is more on like Sharon's level right now. The best bit about this scene is how halfway through the song, it literally switches from like day to nighttime. I don't know why they just didn't start it at nighttime. Like, it had to be like a day thing. It's like literally like 2 scenes in the day and then boom, it's night. It's like really jarring. So they say that the king and queen of the luau, which happens to be Stephanie and Nogarelli, when did that happen? I missed that bit. They're in like this like boat thing and they get told that they've got to take like a little ride on the pool of enchantment, which is basically a giant swimming pool in the middle of this like luau arena that they've built. It's crazy. So Stephanie and Nogarelli are fighting, obviously, because they kind of like hate each other. And then next minute, Balmuto's gang like burst into the luau and they're like causing all kinds of like mayhem. There's like luau stands going everywhere, but like guess what? Guess who comes and saves the day? Yes, you are right. It's Michael.
What would they say if they knew it was Michael?
Well, we are about to find out. So Michael like magically appears on the top of one of these luau stands, and then he does like this like really crazy jump like off the stand, and there's like a guitar like effect like meow as he like jumps. It's like really weird. And then next minute he like I think you see him land, and then he's like on a bike, like magically, like full on like movie magic, jumps on this bike and it's like meow. It's like so funny. And like, oh my god, Balmuto, like when he gets on top of like the stand, Balmuto just shouts, "That's the guy who jacked me!" And it's like, he sounds like Cotman like so much, it's like ridiculous. It's so funny. So like, obviously Michael's on his bike and he like leads like the crowd like out of the arena, and all the kids are like, let's go see what's happening, woo, and they're all running after him. Well, next minute they're all chased back in. It's such a funny moment where they're all like running in and then they're all running back in. It's hilarious. It's so funny. So like they all come back in. Michael jumps the pool, right? You've also got to remember that Stephanie and Nogarelli are still in the pool. They are not. They are not in the pool. They didn't even attempt it with a stunt double. They were just like, this jump is just too hard to make. We're not going to risk it for a biscuit. So Michael makes the jump because obviously he's Michael. And then Balmuto's gang, they try to jump the pool and, you know, they just miss. They end up in the pool. Everyone's like, well, that's the end of the film. They've been, like, defeated. They're wet now. And their bikes are in the pool. Way for the cool rider. And then Michael takes off his mask. And everyone's like, oh my god. Did you know that was Michael Carrington? Like, I didn't know that was Michael Carrington. That is, like, crazy. Meanwhile, so Steph and Nogarelli, they're like suddenly back in the pool after the stunt's been done. And they're wearing these robes, which are like bizarre. And she's gone from wearing like sweats to wearing this like silver cocktail dress. Like, Steph looks amazing. She's like cleaned up good. I also definitely feel like there's some like cultural appropriation going on in this film at the end with this luau, like the robes that they're wearing and everything. I don't know. I feel a little uncomfortable with it, like with a 2021 view, but you know, at the time I guess it was acceptable. And then okay, so she gets out the pool and she's like, I can't believe it's you. She says like one thing, she's like, I get 2 for the price of 1, which is like, I thought you weren't interested in Michael when he was Michael, hence like the reason why he was going through all this stuff. He liked you and you knew that like he liked you, so I don't really get what that like, you know, I get 2 for the price of 1 comments about. Johnny looks fuming, like he looks pissed. Like, I don't get his, but he's like probably like shouting, and it's like, he's like, you, and then he's like, I got a point to make, and then gives him a T-Bird jacket, and now he's like part of the gang, and everyone's like, there's like no backing music, it's all like, oh, and then Steph and Michael have this big slurpy kiss, and because there's no music, all you can hear is like, it's like, oh, it's like grim, it's so boss, it's like, what's happening? Did you guys like run out of budget? Did you forget to put like a backing track on that? Why didn't you do some sexy saxophone music? I don't get why. That would have been like the most appropriate time to start doing, like, you know, the Cool Rider, like meow 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 meow. My sexy saxophone sounds like a dying cat. Sorry guys. Sorry if you guys like had to like deal with listening to that. Sorry. So everyone's there, everyone's like coupled up, even Dolores is coupled up, like, guys, it's gone crazy, and everyone's like slow dancing and like kissing and singing to each other, and it's like really cringy and brilliant, and they're singing a song called We'll Be Together, like birds of a feather. It's horrific. It's so bad. And they're all doing like this dance where they'll all be like sort of like arm in arm, like in a line, and like doing like a mad like little walk, singing the song, and then they just break off and they start dancing in couples again. It's like, oh, it's crackers. Everyone's in love, everyone's proclaiming their love to each other, and then it's just graduation, and then the film ends and plays the back to school credits again. And that is the plot of Grease 2. Now, I am fully aware that I might sound like I am dissing Grease 2. I know that some of the things that I've said might not be as complimentary as maybe you thought I was going to be going into this. But what you've got to understand with Grease 2 is all of the cons are actually the pros. You might not think that you want a ridiculous version of Grease. You might not think that you want somebody telling you that they are cool every other sentence in the script. You might not think that, but trust me, you do. You do. You might not think that you want some really like ridiculously obvious lyrics in songs like, you know, Who's That Guy? You might not think that, but trust me, you do. And if you haven't watched this film in all its glory, I seriously advise you to go to Amazon Prime. You can rent it for £3.50 if you don't want to, like, you know, full on invest in buying like the DVD. It's honestly so good. It's one of those films where it's like, I love a film that's just so crap. It's gone back from being crap and gone back to being good again. Like The Room. It's basically like if The Room was a musical. Well, hey, that's a little bit insulting, you know, to Grease 2. It's not that bad, but it is out there. It's the overacting. It's like everyone is just like hyped up so much. It's like Grease on steroids. It's like everybody is taking whiz. I mean, I think it was made in like 1980. It was like the early 80s that it was made. So, I mean, like, you know, come on. Everyone might have been on whiz. That is like, you know, that is my opinion. That is not, I'm not saying that they definitely are, but I'm saying that, you know, it could have been a possibility. I have no idea what they were thinking when they were writing this film. I really don't. Like, why would you want a Grease 2? Oh, 82 it came out, 1982. Like, to be honest, I heard as well at Sandy, so Olivia Newton-John, the guy who plays Brad, she was like going out with him, so she was like always on the set. She was like constantly with them, and like the Grease cast like threw them a party, and I think they really thought that this was gonna be like a mega hit. I really think that they thought they had another Grease like on their hands, and sadly they didn't. It bombed at the box office. I think it made about 4 million, I think. it cost something stupid like 16, and they only made about 4 back. So in terms of like the return on it was just not like good. It won 3 awards, but there was 2 of them were just like gag ones, and it was just like for like worst director and like worst film and stuff. And then Michelle Pfeiffer, she actually won one for like best young female artist or something, or best young female actress. So she actually did, you know, use this as a good stepping stone, and this was like a really good like thing for her career. And I would say that her performance is actually the best in the entire film. Don't get me wrong, guys, I love Maxwell Caulfield, amazing in Empire Records. But let's be honest, his voice was not there. Didn't have the range. He wasn't exactly a Danny Zuko, was he? Do you know what though? He was a bit of blue for the mums. Do you know what I mean? He's there with his, like, you know, his bare chest and looking all sweet, and, you know, like, he's a good boy turned into a bad boy. So, you know, he's a bit of a fantasy. He is a bit of a fantasy, and, you know, I think he is a good choice for the role, but, you know, I can kind of see why, you know, he didn't exactly stand out as like a leading man. Oh, but yeah, Grease 2. I absolutely love it. I've had so many like good times watching this film. My friend Nat, like, honestly, like, we used to stay up until like 4 a.m. watching like Grease 2, and we'd be like getting drunk on like Lambrini and sitting there watching Grease 2, and it's like, it's such one of those like cult classics that you watch that many times. There's so many quotable bits in it that the enjoyment comes from like joining in with the film. It's one of those where it's kind of like Rocky Horror in that kind of way, where a lot of the pleasure and enjoyment from watching it comes from kind of experiencing it and joining in with the cast. Even though you're not there, you kind of feel like a member of the cast, and that is like, again, that's another reason why everybody should watch it. I actually have like the soundtrack as well, and like, if they made this into a stage show, I could see it being like a Rocky Horror-esque, like having like shout outs and all that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know how they would translate, you know, motorbikes onto stage, but I'm sure they'd figure it out. Maybe we should do it. If anyone wants to start a production of Grease 2, let me know, and we'll figure something out. The unauthorized version of Grease 2. So I think this drawing's actually turned out like pretty okay. One thing I will say is I don't normally do backgrounds, and I decided to have a go at doing a blue background, and as soon as I did it, I just instantly regretted it, and then just carried on just like going. But the finished result is actually not that bad. I actually warmed up to it. So like I added some like little splatters, kind of give it like a bit of like a punky kind of vibe. I love kind of doing ink splatters. It's kind of like my kind of thing. I do it in a lot of my work. So I thought I'd add a few little bits of those in. And I'm actually really pleased with the way it's turned out. I think if I could go back and do it again, I probably wouldn't have done the blue background. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think. That's the thing about art, is like, you take a risk. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You've always got next time to kind of go and change it.
So here is the finished piece. I'm actually like super happy with the way this has turned out. I mean, like, I was really upset about the blue background, and I think if I did do it again, I probably wouldn't do the blue background again. But I'm actually happy with the way it's turned out. I think like the ink splatters, they just kind of like make it like kind of pop. And again, I'm not really that used to doing watercolour portraits, so this is something that I've actually really, really enjoyed. So again, this is going to be a giveaway, so if you'd like to win this painting, if you just go to the description, all the information about how to enter will be in there, and I'll be doing a giveaway every single week, so if you don't win this one, there's always a chance next time. And yeah, here is the finished piece I made up.
So I hope that you guys enjoyed that video. I'm going to try and put them out every single Wednesday. I got some other films. I'm going to be doing Drop Dead Gorgeous. I'm going to be doing some of the John Waters films as well. So sit tight. Tune in every Wednesday. I've also got Studio Sundays. They're going to keep going, where I'm just doing like general art projects. And again, if you've got any suggestions, you want me to kind of like look into a different film and give my opinion, comment down below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Take care, guys. Love you.